Well, having proper fitting shoes is so important. There can be a lot of problems if you don't have the right fit. That's why getting measured when you buy a new pair of shoes is a great idea. So Bart Dickinson with Top Shoes is here to explain how that's done. Bart, good morning.
Morning.
This is really important because I feel like we don't ever truly know the proper fit of a shoe until we get it measured. So how does this work? How do we get our feet measured properly?
Yeah, I'd say over 90% of the new customers to our store aren't wearing the right size when they come in the door.
That's insane.
And for some reason they get a number in their head that they want to just like, I'm an 8, I'm an 8, I'm an 8. Well, this is a Brannick device, and this is a primary tool that we use to measure length and width. And for instance, I'm going to hope this shows up on the screen, but if you look at this foot, for instance, its toe length says that it's a 9, but that's not necessarily the length of the foot. What we want to look at is the arch length of your foot, and that's why it's so important. So your arch length starts at the back of your heel and stops here at the joint of your big toe. Some people see that sticking out of their foot more than others, but that's where your big toe starts. Yep.
So from there to there, that's your arch length.
Right.
And that's where we need to measure.
That's where we need to measure. And that's what this little slide here on the side, that's what it measures. And so that's why it's so important that we measure the length of that. So that is going to give us the true measurement of the foot, because every shoe has arch built in it. And when you have that arch in the right spot, the shoe fits better, you get better support. Everybody's foot has a width part where across the ball of the foot, we call it, where the foot's the widest, it's right across here. And if you'll notice, all your shoes have the widest part of the shoe, so where the shoe's the widest. You want this widest part of the foot to match up with the widest part of the shoe, because that's where the shoe naturally bends. If you put it too far forward, like pretend my hand is a foot for a minute and fingers are my toes. If you pinch your toes like this, it can lead to calluses, blisters, corns. You want freedom in your toes inside the shoe. You don't want to be in a vise. So when you push your toes too far up into the point of the shoe, it pulls everything together. And that's what causes us to have like hammer toes, which are really bad or bunions or things like that, because of the crowding. And it's kind of like dripping water. A little bit of drips at a time don't bother you, but when that shoe's crammed in that shoe over years and years, it starts deforming the toes. And then you lead, like I said, to all kinds of problems where you have to, sometimes surgery is the only way to correct it. Another thing that's real important is the type of sock that you wear, especially if you have sensitive feet. There's lots of socks now that have extra cushioning built in, and those help pad the natural padding that's missing off of your feet. So as you age, the fat pads at the bottom of your feet, they get harder and not softer. So it's kind of like the end of your nose. The cartilage is under here, the fat pad, it gets harder, and you feel more pressure, everything's more sensitive down there. So it's good to have a little extra cushion with your socks. So wearing socks is really important, good socks. No cotton, because cotton makes your feet sweat more, which causes the skin to stay wet and damp. Just like if you're in a bathtub and your feet are damp and wet, they get those little wrinkles and the skin's real soft. Well, that's what happens inside your shoe if you don't wear socks that wick moisture away. So that's real important too.
So the way how, most of us grow up is mom pushing down at the end of your toe saying, can you feel this? Does this hurt? Does this feel right? So that's not really a good way to measure your foot size.
No, don't worry about where your toe is in the shoe. I mean, you don't want it bumping the end, obviously, but if you've got half an inch, a quarter of an inch, a full inch, it doesn't matter, because it's all about how the arch fits. For instance, these two shoes are kind of a good example. If you look at this shoe, it's kind of a square shape in the front. This shoe's more of a pointed shape at the front. That makes a real big difference too when you're fitting shoes. You want to make sure that your foot shape matches the shape of the shoe that you're going to wear. So if you've got a square foot, you want to look for shoes that are more square in the front. If you've got a more pointed foot, you want to look for a shoe that's more pointed, because that fits too. You don't want a shoe that's too big, because then that can lead to problems too. If
Right.
you're moving around too much in the shoe, then that's going to make an issue. But you want to make sure that your shoe's fitted the best way, and that's the way we train everybody. We're certified podorthists in that when you have a foot issue, fit is the #1 cure for that.
Right.
I mean, you can get orthotics, you can get surgery, you can get everything, but having a shoe that fits good is the #1. And a lot of times, if you'll get a shoe that fits good, you won't need orthotics. You won't need to have the surgery. If you start off having the right fit, that'll take care of all your problems.
Where can people find you if they want to come in to get their foot measured?
So we have Top Shoes on I-30 in Benton, and we've opened up some smaller satellite stores. We just opened up a new one on Cantrell, 13900 Cantrell Road, and it's a smaller version of our big store in Benton. So in Benton, we've got tons and tons of brands, big square footage, but we've got these little satellite stores in Hot Springs, Little Rock, and Rogers.
Perfect. Well, I've learned a lot. It's good to know. I always said I'm a size 10, and I measured myself, and I am a true size 10.
Good for you.
Yeah, so we're good to go. Hopefully they won't grow more than that. Bart, thank you so much. All right, after this break, we'll check on your forecast with Belinda. Stay with us.